is West Dakota Fox News at 9 with Molly Martinez and meteorologist Henry Blakes. Your first news of the night starts right now on West Dakota Fox News at 9.
Good evening, I'm Molly Martinez. 1 in 5 students in the United States report being bullied at school, according to the National Bully Prevention Center. It's an issue pervasive in schools in North Dakota, and community advocates are working on ways to address the problem. Megan Hoffman is here to tell us about how they believe they can help. Megan?
Social workers, Bismarck Public School representatives, and more are working together as a team to learn how they can best help each other and provide support to students being bullied and those who are bullies.
Finding an answer to preventing bullying is going to take the whole community, according to Cheryl Carey.
I really wanted this to be a community conversation about what do we need to do and how do we connect and how do we help support kids so that they don't feel like they're bullied.
But what is bullying? According to stopbullying.gov, bullying is unwanted, aggressive behavior among school-aged children that involves a real or perceived power imbalance. Mary Jo Van Horn says it all comes down to what you learn in childhood for both bullies and those who are bullied.
The root issue, I believe it to be a self-worth issue, right? And it's so much about what the kids, and not only the kids, the parents, but I believe we learn it in childhood, what we tell ourselves about ourselves when we don't understand what's going on.
Van Horn says once you're able to fix the self-worth issue for both children and adults, bullying can be prevented because you'll no longer be blaming yourself for what is happening.
Carey says in order to really help kids, there needs to be more communication between all parties, from the guardians and parents to the teachers and principals, in order to best help children.
Thanks, Megan. Let's throw it over now to meteorologist Henry Blakes. Henry, we're getting cool, but the weekend is looking nice.
Yeah, even today we actually topped out in the 70s.
Thanks, Henry. The city of Lincoln is known for lower taxes and fabulous fireworks. But now something in town is causing a stink, and they're starting to be known for smelly surroundings. A lagoon is thawing, and it's making residents unhappy because of the stench. Daniela Hurtado was out in Lincoln today and found out what some of the solutions are.
Like you mentioned, the smell is coming from the lagoon behind me. It's actually been there for more than 10 years. But one of the city council members tells me this isn't the first lagoon and this isn't the first location they've had it at. But he says now there might be some options to fixing the smell in the city every time spring rolls around. The mix of a windy spring day and a thawing lagoon can be a little smelly.
It brings up sludge from the bottom and it smells like hydrogen sulfide.
Also referred to as rotten eggs.
We're in the process of analyzing the sewer water right now, see our flows, our volume, and the strength of it.
People on social media are not happy about the smell, some even asking for change, while others say it's just part of living in a small town.
There's a possibility we'd be addressing Bismarck with seeing if they'll accept a forced main from us. Or else we'll have to build another cell to the lagoon.
The Bismarck option would be more than $700,000, which they get a grant for, but he says it would be a permanent fix for the city's expansion and the smell. Fisher does say the solutions won't come anytime soon, but at least they have options for the years moving forward. Reporting in Lincoln for West Dakota Fox News at 9, I'm Daniela Hurtado.
Well, the snow is still melting in some parts of town, but the Bismarck Fire Department says don't be fooled. It's still dangerously dry. They want you to be cautious outside if you plan on building a fire. Suggestions include keeping fires at least 15 feet away from buildings, decks, and fences, have a way of extinguishing it, and never leave a fire unattended. The Lemoore County Sheriff's Department says a grain bin caught fire around 8 a.m. and the CHS feed plant building in Edgeley. So far, no injuries have been reported. Speaking of fires, McHenry County is declaring a burn ban. County commissioners said the potential for abnormally dry conditions combined with high winds create the danger. On the other hand, a controlled burn is scheduled tomorrow on Bismarck Airport property. It'll happen from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., weather permitting. And the Bismarck Police and Bismarck Airport officials say if you see the smoke, don't be alarmed. Also in Bismarck, Janelle Combs was just selected as the City Commission to serve as Bismarck's city attorney. Combs was one of 5 candidates up for the position. She's a graduate of the University of North Dakota Law School with nearly 19 years of legal experience in both public and private practice. Combs starts on May 21st. Earlier today, Bismarck High School broke ground on its expansion projects. The expansion will start with construction of an auditorium and then a gym addition along with other improvements.
This was a long time coming. We're very excited for the opportunity to put an auditorium on Bismarck High here for our kids and for the south side of Bismarck, that we have this now on the south side, and it'll be able to be used by the kids for generations to come.
Wistoff says he's grateful for the community voting to pass this. The auditorium is expected to be completed in fall of 2019. Energy experts say gas flaring is a burning issue. It can have potentially dangerous impacts on the environment, and some say it's a waste of valuable resources. Maddie Gelseth breaks down how much flaring is happening in our own backyard.
The state's pipeline authority calls Fort Berthold the core of the Bakken. The wells on the reservation have high rates of oil and natural gas production, so gas capture requirements are amplified to that high-performance region. To capture Fort Berthold's flaring more efficiently, Justin Kringstad with the Pipeline Authority says the reservation would have to get more pipeline in the ground and expand their pipeline network.
Having interconnectivity between the pipeline network so that as one area is more active for a period of time, those gas molecules can find a home at one of the processing plants in the region.
Kringstad adds that this will benefit the market, generating more revenue.
There are so many things that we can do with that gas other than light up the night, impact our environment, and then not get paid the royalties for resources that belong to us.
Fox says the money that will be generated from that gas capture will bring more development and infrastructure to their reservation.
According to Mark Fox, who you just heard from, royalties from oil and gas on Fort Berthold is helping ensure more tribal members. Fox said this year 85% of royalties to the tribe received were distributed to each member, but insurance doesn't cover everybody.
If you have existing insurance, you don't qualify from your employer, or if you qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, we expect you to apply for those. But if you don't have either of those, we're providing nearly half of our membership health insurance at great cost.
Fox says that now there's health insurance from these royalties that helps tribe members find the care they need. Also on the health front, a new report shows North Dakota's behavioral health system is on par with the rest of the country, but it falls a little short from a complete clean bill of health. Andrew Horn explains. Welcome back. Preparations are being finalized for the first summit between North Korea and South Korea in more than 10 years. Fox News correspondent Greg Palkett has more from Seoul.
It's the first face-to-face meeting between Korean leaders in more than a decade. Officials from the North and South unveiling the venue where Kim Jong-un and South Korean President Moon Jae-in will meet on Friday in a highly anticipated series of talks seen as a dress rehearsal for the upcoming U.S.-North Korea summit.
We've instilled the theme of welcome and care and peace and desire. We tried to put our sincerity into paintings and pictures.
South Korea says the cross-border summit is a chance for the North to confirm its commitment to denuclearization, which President Trump says will be the main focus of his talks with Kim Jong-un.
I want to see denuclearization of North Korea. A lot of concessions have already been made.
But there's still plenty of skepticism at home and abroad about the chances of a big breakthrough with the North.
Saying is one thing, but until we have a signature and a ratification, I think nothing can be for sure definite.
Meanwhile, here in Seoul, reaction has been mixed. Some South Koreans are looking forward to the opportunity, while others say it's just another ploy from the North.
The motto of the upcoming summit is peace, the new beginning. So I hope North Korea walks the path of denuclearization.
I think it is North Korea's plot to unify the Korean peninsula under communism.
National Security Advisor John Bolton met with his South Korean counterpart this week, coordinating a meeting between Presidents Trump and Moon after this cross-border summit. In Seoul, Greg Palkott, Fox News.
New developments tonight in the hunt for Sacramento's East Area rapist, also known as the Golden State Killer. Today, authorities arrest former police officer Joseph D'Angelo. Police say he terrorized California in the 70s and 80s, committing at least 12 homicides, 45 rapes, and dozens of burglaries. He wasn't considered a suspect until the last 6 days. That's when police made a major breakthrough using DNA. Also in California, police are looking for a trio of thieves who broke into a Target and burglarized an ATM. Surveillance video captured the heist. You can see them banging on the machine with sledgehammers. The group later did the same thing at a different Target location. It's unclear how much money was taken. All three are still at large. A freak accident in China. Take a look at the woman on the right side of your screen. All of a sudden, a dog falls out of the sky, hitting her on the head. The impact knocked her out. She was taken to the hospital, suffering a concussion and a serious neck injury. The dog ran away from the scene, seemingly unharmed. Around the internet, Google is rolling out a new Gmail design. The tech giant is introducing its biggest revamp to the product since 2011. The update includes a fresh interface, new security features, and some productivity tweaks, including a task panel. Users can now send disappearing messages, setting emails to expire in a single day or at any time in the next 5 years. Yahoo just got slapped with a $35 million fine stemming from a 2014 data breach. This after failing to disclose information of the breach to investors for over 2 years. Officials from Yahoo agreed to the stiff fine despite not admitting any wrongdoing. The email and digital service was sold to Verizon Communications for $4.4 billion in 2017. Speaking of getting hacked, adults aren't the only ones vulnerable to identity fraud. A new study by Javelin Strategy and Research found that 1 million children were victims of identity theft in 2017. They found it's common for children to have accounts opened in their name despite having very little existing credit or history on file. The study also stated that 2/3 of the victims were under the age of 8. Experts say to protect your children, pay attention to what information you give about them in schools. And gender inequality is costing Asia's economies big time. According to new research, hiring more women could boost the economy in the Asian Pacific region by an estimated $4.5 trillion by 2025. That's according to a recent report published by the McKinley Global Institute. The group claims that the Asian Pacific is arguably the most dynamic region in the world, but women in many countries face unequal treatment at work and in society, largely compared to men. All right, let's toss it over now to meteorologist Henry Blakes for a full look at our forecast.
Hey, we've got a cold front pushing through the region.
Today at the Supreme Court, President Trump's legal team defends his so-called travel ban, all while a different court rules against his attempt to kill the DACA program. Fox News chief legal correspondent Shannon Bream has more.
The hottest ticket in town is right here at the U.S. Supreme Court today. Crowds waited in line for days to hear oral arguments for and against President Trump's so-called travel ban.
This is about a perpetual problem. You want the president to say, I'm convinced that in 6 months we're going to have a safe world. Well, no, Justice Kennedy, that's not our argument. Our argument is here the president is identifying something that is a perennial problem. Our brief says it goes back 100 years.
The court seemed mostly divided along ideological lines. Moderate Justice Anthony Kennedy, often seen as the swing vote, had tough questions for both sides. Outside the court, dozens of protesters making their voices heard.
The Muslim ban is unconstitutional, it's discriminatory, and we hope to see the Supreme Court uphold American values today.
Most legal experts agree the court has traditionally deferred to presidents when it comes to issues of national security.
If this is based on religion, then the administration has a serious problem. It doesn't sound as though the justices think that.
The Supreme Court arguments come shortly after a lower court ordered the reinstatement of the DACA program, which shields millions of illegal immigrants from deportation. But the White House is sticking to its guns, claiming the program is unconstitutional and calling on the Justice Department to appeal the ruling.
We've been very clear. We think it's an illegal program, but that's something that the Department of Justice is going to have to handle.
The justices also spent a fair amount of time debating whether the president's statements during his campaign and his tweets about Muslim immigrants should be considered when looking at the text of Travel Ban 3.0 itself. A decision is expected by late June. At the Supreme Court, Shannon Bream, Fox News.
According to a recent UN report, natural disasters could cost the Asia-Pacific region more than $160 billion each year by 2030. Now they're pushing for disaster risk insurance programs. Usually after a natural disaster strikes, individuals, businesses, and governments are less to cover the hefty costs of calamities. Over now to a look at our own weather with meteorologist Henry Blakes.
Hey, taking a look at your 7-day forecast. A little cooler for tomorrow, your Thursday, and same for Friday, but at least it's going to be sunny And a nice weekend ahead. A bit breezy on Saturday if you're getting out in the water. Be mindful of that. But by Sunday, we'll be near 80.
Henry, near 80. You're spoiling us.
I tried.
You gotta stop. You're too good to us. Oh, no show tomorrow because of the draft.